Try again.
Live on the Freak Radio Network, broadcasting from the Lucas Oil Studios. Driven by General Tire.
Rock on, baby!
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
All right, Freak Nation, we need to make sure that we unmute our mics, given this little transgression that we have inside of our software. But I believe we are live, Freak Nation, for the very first time in 2026.
Oh, my gosh.
And unfortunately, fortunately for you, Freak Nation, we are live for the first time in 2026 for news that broke this morning that didn't surprise many of us, that Steve Phelps, newly minted commissioner with the NASCAR series, has resigned. And if you go back and look at the tail end of our 2025 shows, there wasn't a segment that we couldn't get out of. It wasn't a show that we couldn't get out of talking about how, is he going to be here? Is he not going to be here? We're talking about Steve Phelps. And I believe, I can't pull the audio and video just like that, but there's one instance where I believe it was the last show. It might have been we were doing the Freakies Cole, where out of the gate, you just said, no way. There's no way he can return. And it wasn't wishful thinking, but Cole, Steve Phelps is gone.
Yeah, it's not a surprise to me at all. I mean, I think the writing was on the wall once those texts got released where he was quoted bashing Richard Childress, calling him a redneck and wanting him to get taken out back and flogged. So it's not surprising to me. I think also once the antitrust lawsuit was settled, one glaring detail was that he was not present at the courthouse that day. So it's not a surprise to me. It is what it is. I always felt Phelps was very forward-thinking. I thought he was good for the sport. But when you have details like that emerge where you're bashing one of the pillars of NASCAR and someone that's done so much for the sport, Richard Childress, there's no coming back from that. So it's a shame in some aspects, but in other ways, it just makes a lot of sense that he's not here as the commissioner in 2026.
I don't think he could return and NASCAR be able to get away from the horrific story that was surrounding Steve Phelps and his PR nightmare, like you said, Cole, once his actual texts were revealed to the public. Now, they weren't allowed to be used in the court case, the antitrust court case, but we all saw them. The fan base saw them. And that was going to be a very ugly hole to dig out of. So, yes, I think this was inevitable that Steve Phelps was to, quote, resign. Or was he told that he had to leave and they are making this a nice PR flowery way of, hey, he's moving on to his next sports venture? Whatever. It doesn't really matter. The guy was good in many aspects for the sport, but this is my opinion, what I'm about to say here. You can't have an elitist attitude like it appeared Steve Phelps had and expect to be a good leader in any sport. I'm not just talking about NASCAR. Arguably what killed IndyCar during the kart IRL split, and they're still building back from to this day, it's now 2026, was their elitist attitude on the kart side of things. And you just can't have that. You can't say that this guy is a redneck. You can't say he needs to go out back and be flogged when this is a guy that helped build your sport. In IndyCar, the kart IRL split, it was the same sort of thing. Though they are losers on the IRL side, whereas we are the greatness on the kart side. You can't do that. So yes, this was inevitable. Steve Phelps needed to go, regardless if it was an actual resignation or him being fired or politely asked to leave. That is neither here nor there. The bottom line is he's gone.
Richie?
So I'm going to eat crow a little bit here because on our last show that we did a Horsepower Humpday show or a live show on the day that the court came to its agreement, right? And they settled in court. And I remember coming on the show and Crash had mentioned at the time that Steve Phelps wasn't there. And we were asking the question, hey, is he going to be there come January 2026, come to Daytona 500? Kenny, Crash, you guys both said he's done. He's out. And I was the one person to say, I don't think so. I didn't think he would resign. I thought he was going to stick around because the way our media works and the way the fan base works. Because my point was that most of the people who were wanting Steve Phelps gone was the fan base, and my reasoning for that is because they've never liked him for as long as he's been in that role, especially post-COVID. In the last 5 years, post-COVID, when he's really started to become more and more of the commissioner, the face of the sport, the guy who's out there doing those press conferences every championship weekend, the fan base has never liked him. And so they're the ones that are pushing for him to come out, whereas he's been in NASCAR and with the France family on the board of directors over the last couple of years, but he's been with them for 20 years. So I didn't think that the Frances, as stubborn as they are, would make this move at all. I did not think this would happen. So I'm the first person to come on here, and you usually don't do this in sports media, and you go and you make a mea culpa and say, I was wrong. I was wrong about this. So when I woke up today and I saw this, I was honestly shocked. I was shocked.
Couple of things I'm going to play off what you said and what Crasher said. And I don't like stereotypes because people have tried to stereotype and pigeonhole and marginalize speed freaks for 25 years, sure. But you can't. You can't put us anywhere. You can't put us in a NASCAR show, NHRA show, IndyCar show, a goofball show. We're a lifestyle show that just so happens to be about motorsports. Good luck pigeonholing us. But outside looking in, whether you're an NBA broadcaster, you're a sportscaster in Las Vegas, if you don't follow motorsports, that's still the perception that you have of NASCAR. And that being, it's just the good old boys. It's just that kind of vibe. It's still out there after decades and decades of NASCAR trying to redefine itself. And a guy like Steve Phelps comes in like he just walked off of Madison Avenue in that snappy outfit. Good-looking hair, good-looking man, a good-looking woman on his shoulder. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. From a visual and a planning standpoint, I was his number one freaking fan. In fact, we may play some of this interview I did with him about 3 years ago. I was his biggest freaking buddy. I loved exactly what he was doing. He was taking fire from everywhere from the older NASCAR fans. And I see it right now in some of our chats. But one thing you can't do is come in, start taking the money of NASCAR, and then quietly start macheting
right.
those that help build NASCAR, whether you agree with what they're doing or not. You can't go in there and start chopping the legs off these men and women that have built this sport. And once that happened, when you get Johnny Morris up there, my man from Bass Pro, hammering NASCAR, a big supporter of NASCAR, a big supporter of several teams, sponsor races. Got to be careful what you say, what you tweet, what you text. And I'll be honest with you. I trust every person on this show with me right now. But there are still certain things I won't text this group. Not because you guys are a-holes and you'll backstab. I just don't. I won't. I don't want it in writing. I won't.
What?
No.
Wow.
Hey, duly noted.
You should have told Steve Phelps that back in a year plus ago when he was sending these messages about Richard Childress. I don't know if he ever knew that. Do you think he knew that those texts would ever show up in public?
No way.
Oops.
No way.
Yeah, Richie, that's why I did it. Why'd you ask that?
Well, because it's got to be asked, because it's got to be out there in public for us to discuss. Because how can you be that idiotic? Apparently you can. But I think it was Lynn earlier when we announced that we were going live on Twitter, who's X, who said that, hey, he should have learned, or maybe he and Zach Brown, Steve Phelps and Zach Brown, of course, Zach Brown, the president of McLaren and McLaren Motorsports, that, you got to really be careful on which app you use and what is actually coded and encrypted end to end so that your tweets, your texts don't go out to the public. Mm-hmm. Oopsies.
Yep.
Both Zach Brown and Steve Phelps learning the hard lesson through court cases these days.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, if you're just waking up like a couple of our co-hosts on this show.
Hey, we're on the West Coast. Come on. Ish.
Steve Phelps resigns this morning to the surprise of a lot of folks. And I'm gathering from our conversation, not really to the surprise of us. It was more like, when's it going to happen versus if it's going to happen. And if you recall, back in April of 2025, you know who was hot and heavy after Steve Phelps, and he admitted it, was the PGA.
And this is public, right?
Yeah, it's public.
Okay.
And he basically told the PGA to go pound sand. I'm here for the long haul with NASCAR. Well, guess what? PGA's had their share of controversial issues. Do they bring in a dude that's associated with flogging an older man?
Well, hold on. Go back exactly to what you just said, Kenny, in that we in the NASCAR bubble, we in the motorsports bubble know about these texts. And again, they were not necessarily public record from a court case. Yes, they're public now, but you got to go digging to find them. Mm-hmm. Do executives in the NFL, do executives in the PGA, are they going to go digging to find why he left NASCAR? Because again, the PR spin on this is that he resigned himself. This is all flowery for him moving forward. Can he, as long as he didn't burn a bridge with the PGA, can he go back to them and say, all right, I'm ready for that job now? I would argue yes.
No, because that came and went, because I'm looking at a thing here from June of 2025. PGA Tour's Monahan to step down in 2026 as Rolap, the current CEO of the PGA Tour, is set to take over. So you can't go there now. Oops.
Okay, would it be a PR nightmare? Let's go back inside that motorsports bubble. Would it be a PR nightmare if he shows up with either IndyCar or the NHRA?
Ooh, man. Very possible.
Some people, they follow the rules. Here at the Freak Nation, we don't. Go to our YouTube channel at Official Speed Freaks and hit the store link, and you'll be able to own a part of the Freak Nation, from adult to kids tees, freaking hoodies, beanies to styling lids, kicks, and coffee mugs. All carrying Speed Freaks attitude that's been rattling cages for 25 years. This ain't fashion. It's a big old fat middle finger to boring. Hello. You want to blend in? Keep walking. Hit up Speed Freaks YouTube page and bang the store link so you too can own a part of the Freak Nation.
Here's to the Dream Chasers, the glass ceiling breakers, the minivan mothers, the schedule jugglers, and everyday all-stars at the top of their game. We see you making moves, taking names, and rewriting the rules to find your own way. To all the women who keep our world running smooth, we keep you on the move.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
I want to piggyback off what you were saying there, Crash, about people having to dig for this information because he resigned, wasn't fired. Earlier this morning, my dad was watching ESPN. Not a single lick of coverage that the commissioner of NASCAR resigned. It should be huge news. It's major sports news, but it's not being viewed that way, I guess, across other platforms and big outlets like ESPN. So that's a good point you raised there. I also want to go to a comment mentioned here over here for on our chat. Someone mentioning a fresh start for the new season. There were numerous reports openly last year about how NASCAR wants to do a whole rebrand and overhaul and go back to their roots and just have a new facelift in a sense for the 2026 season. To me, this feels like, although it's a resigning, it's like in the NFL or any pro sports when you have a head coach fired and then the GM's fired. It's a complete fresh start. So do we see Steve O'Donnell resign or get canned and have a whole other group of guys brought in here to kind of just give this sport a facelift that it needs going into 2026 and beyond?
So are you alluding to potentially others leaving now as well?
It's very possible. Yeah, and it was mentioned in the comments. It's a great point, and you see it very commonly in other stick and ball sports where, a head coach gets canned, then it's the GM and their coordinators and so forth and so on. So I think it's a good question to be raised, and it's a very fair one at that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like Cole's comparison given where we are with the National Football League, where, again, yesterday being Black Monday, with all of those coaches, general managers, coordinators being released. And we didn't call them the two Steves for nothing.
Right.
They were connected at the hip. And I don't know, I don't think O'Donnell was carrying the water for Phelps. I think O'Donnell was a great wingman for Phelps at the time. And Phelps even said a few things in those texts and WhatsApps and Snapchats and Slap-Ds and so forth that implicate him.
You're talking about O'Donnell.
Yeah, O'Donnell. Yeah, O'Donnell. So I think it's a great question, Cole, because this is when your commissioner resigns. I'm not talking about Spire Motorsports general manager resign. This is the guy who just grabbed the title of commissioner of your league. And he resigned. He didn't resigns, fire, whatever the case is. Everybody knows what happened here. I don't care how you spin it. They know. Everyone knows what happened.
Well, go back into what we were talking about. Everyone inside the motorsports bubble knows. Everyone inside sports in general, not necessarily. Well, so again, I think that needs to be clarified, because if we do see him pick up a massive executive position at the NFL, at PGA, at wherever, don't be too shocked by that.
I'm not going to be shocked by it, because it's 2026. Yeah, right. And over the last 6 years, what's happened on this freaking planet? Nothing surprises me. Zero.
Valid.
Not zip. I even see a comment here, and I guess you're asking it seriously, Vegas. Well, you are. It says, serious question. Would Dale Jr. be a good candidate for commissioner? I laugh at that, but nothing surprises us now. Nothing does, man. Would he be good in consulting? Which I'm sure Dale Jr. is already. Dale Jr.'s consulted on a number of things. But as far as who is the next commissioner, I am just disappointed. I really liked what Phelps was doing.
You're disappointed in him, though.
Yeah, I am.
His actions.
And I said that last year when this went down. I said, dude, I'm disappointed in you. I was such a big fan of what you've done and the people that you brought in, the forward-thinking people. And key word here, the younger people that you've brought in. I'm not necessarily saying 20-somethings, just people who thought young. That you
outside the box.
Surrounded yourself with forward thinkers, and I really enjoyed that. It's something that we pride ourselves on for 25 years. We've been getting our ass kicked from old people for 2 decades. But damn it, we continue to prove them wrong that this is how you go. We've been doing this for 25 effing years without muffing it up. Well, we muffed it up a few times, but frankly, not as severe as this, is going out there and just talking about flogging people.
Okay. Well, like Cole alluded to, will other people be forced to resign? Will there be a regime change, a management change in NASCAR before Daytona or shortly thereafter? That is a very good question to talk about. But where does the problem in the sanctioning body truly lie? Is it Steve O'Donnell? I don't think so. I still feel like you need to keep someone like Steve O'Donnell, who does have massive leadership skills and can take the good and the bad from the past and tweak it and make things work moving forward. I still think, my opinion, you need somebody like that to keep going with the series. We all saw how the France family, well, they were put through the fire in this court case. Is there an issue there? Then again, they own the series. It's not like they can do anything unless they want to sell, and that's not happening. So how will this series be made better, be made more whole moving forward? It's a hard question.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this before we went live, because my question in my mind was, okay, so the lead person to take over as the new face of NASCAR is Ben Kennedy. It's pretty damn clear that the France family has been lining him up to take over this sport for the last 5-6 years, again, in that post-COVID era. Problem is, he just turned 34 about 2 weeks ago. So is he ready for prime time yet? I don't think he is. And on top of that, the great thing about Steve Phelps and Steve O'Donnell is they are not attached to the France family name, which I think was the greatest thing for NASCAR, is to have those two guys leading your sport being outside of the France family, when Brian France was leading your sport for so long. And there's a reason why he's gone. We don't need to get into that on the show. You can look it up. It's online, I'm sure, but he's no longer in the sport despite having that France family name. So here's my declaration to NASCAR. Go and hire somebody from outside of the sport. Mm-hmm. That's how you grow. You aren't going to grow by keeping everything inside the France family. You are not going to grow by keeping Ben Kennedy as the face of your sport. Even though Ben Kennedy has done some really nice things, right? He's been at the forefront of San Diego, of Chicago, et cetera, of all these things that we've liked that NASCAR has done over the last 5+ years. But you bring in somebody new and you bring in that new and fresh voices. That's how you continue to get a younger fan base. That's how you move the sport forward as opposed to where we are now, which is a very kind of stale version of NASCAR, which hasn't really grown outside of going to some of these different markets, going to Mexico City, et cetera, which is great. But there's an opportunity to grow here. And I think if they go outside of the France family and hire a new commissioner, I think it would be the greatest thing for the sport.
So let me play devil's advocate then. That's exactly what IndyCar did 15-ish years ago with Mark Miles, bringing him in from tennis. How'd that work out?
I don't think that was his fault. I mean, I'm not on top of the IndyCar side of things, but like to put the one blame on one person is a little weird to me.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, explain why.
Okay, because yes, when Mark Miles came in to help run IndyCar, you're right. Was every decision truly on him, or was it a collective, hey, you and Roger Penske and at the time, Tim Cindric, you guys are all making these decisions together, yet Mark Miles was the fall guy if something went wrong. You have a point there. I would say, though, when you alluded to wanting to bring in a younger audience, I don't think necessarily going outside to bring in a younger audience is it. Ben Kennedy is your key to the younger audience, but you do need a different perspective outside of the NASCAR family to bring in maybe not younger, but a different audience.
Let me remind everybody.
That's what one of our commenters just said this, alluding to kind of what I was saying. He's asking, move the sport forward versus what all the old fans want. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest question mark facing the sport right now is they're stuck in between these two types of fan bases and two types of people where Cole and I are the younger fan base who want to see a sport evolve and change and move with the times as opposed to be stuck in what made them popular 25 years ago. It's not 25 years ago anymore. The landscape has changed. We're watching races on Prime Video, right? we're going to have NFL playoff games on Prime Video that you have to pay to watch. And it's going to get 30+ million viewers, right? For a playoff game. And so that's the problem with NASCAR right now is they're stuck in between these two diverging paths and they're at a fork in the road and they got to decide which path they want to take. And I'll say for myself, I've been on record in saying they got to try something new. They can't go back to their old ways because they've been there, done that. They tried and it didn't work.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
If you don't evolve, you die. And we're seeing that with the numbers. We saw it last year. The ratings decreased significantly once they went to that midway point of the season. So I'm with you, Richie. The old school way of thinking and trying to progress NASCAR is not going to work out. If you don't evolve, you're going to die. But plain and simple.
As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinion, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers. Tickets for the 2026 season of Speed at Worldwide Technology Raceway are on sale now. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 and Celebration of 66 Festival, June 6th and 7th. The NASCAR Cup Series Enjoy Illinois 300, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and Confluence Music Festival, September 11th through 13th. And the NHRA Napa Auto Parts Midwest Nationals, October 2nd through 4th. Save big by going to www.raceway.com.
Here's some facts, guys. We are less than a month away of starting the season of NASCAR, and your commissioner has resigned. There's not an off season for them to collect their thoughts and to work towards filling that void. This is there are teams testing at Bowling Gray here in 2 weeks without a commissioner. So there's that. Pardon me as I go back into my Rolodex of thoughts over the last 5 minutes, because there are several in there that I do want to hit. Everybody watched the lawsuit, the thing go down in Carolina, the NASCAR,
the antitrust
lawsuit,
front row in 2311.
And I believe everyone will agree that Jim France didn't hear anything from Lisa Kennedy France, but Jim France should never be the front person for anything other than maybe his grandchildren saying happy birthday, because and I'm not making fun of this guy, man. I'm not making fun of him. Trust me, Freak Nation. I'm not making fun of him. He should not be, and there's a good reason why he wasn't. We saw why he's not facing out for NASCAR.
He's not a public speaker, let's put it that way. And he's not good to defend himself.
Steve O'Donnell, some of the PR heads that run NASCAR, those are the people that should speak for NASCAR. I've always enjoyed what Ben Kennedy has said, how he said it as a younger individual. I'm going to bring politics into this, and I'm not siding on either way. But all I'm saying is we have to be prepared to go younger. Your mayor of New York is in his 30s, and people are up in arms for two reasons. And one in particular is his freaking age, running the largest freaking city on the planet.
We shouldn't be worried about age.
I don't think age is an issue.
Credentials
right
are the
here.
issue. Yeah.
I do think there's an issue if the weight is put on Kennedy. Ben Kennedy still can't, in my opinion, Ben Kennedy still can't make any moves without the okay from his mom and his uncle, right?
Correct.
Sure.
Yep.
So, because I would like to see him elevated, and not just elevated by title, but you can actually see movement in his position with NASCAR to puff his chest out a little bit and saying, this is where we're going. And be sure to be ready to take the shards from NASCAR fans, because we're all pointing at the same thing here, man. It's got to change. Maybe this is a sea change. Maybe there is someone that's going to come in and say, you know what? The Richies, the Coles, the Crashes, the Kennys of the world are right. We need to shorten our freaking races. The time spent watching our races, the TSL, which is very popular with advertising agencies, has been sinking faster than whatever metaphor you want to use. So maybe this is a time for a sea change, and Ben Kennedy can be a part of that with someone that has the marketing state of mind that can work arm in arm with Kennedy, that can come in here and help move this without alienating those that just want to see cars go round and round and round and want to see names they recognize. There's a happy medium here, man. There is. But I think the medium needs to be more on the younger side, Freak Nation. It has to, right?
Without question. That's your audience for a longer period of time moving forward. And they're the ones that are going to be a little more, they're going to be the ones that advertisers want as well.
Everyone that's involved paying money into NASCAR wants that 18 to 35-year-old, 25 to 44-year-old audience. Chevrolet, Toyota, Ford, Dodge. They want those demographics. They don't want my demographic. They want Cole and Richie. I can promise you this. Ally Bank, they want the 34-year-old. They don't want the 65-year-old. So they're not going to have a really tough time telling the sponsors, guys, we realize that we may lose some numbers here, but look at the bottom end here. We're raising up that younger demographic as they proved that point. We saw that with the, what was it, the state of the series?
State of the series.
State of the series from Phelps and O'Donnell. They made their point there. So we've just got, it's just evolution, damn it. Evolution. And unfortunately, my man at the time, Steve Phelps, who I was, again, such a fan of this guy and what he's done for the sport, he's gone. He is, and he should be, Freak Nation. He should be gone. Don't get me wrong. He should be gone. I'm just hoping, Cole, Crash, Richie, that this isn't a huge step. There may need to be a step back so we evaluate. Look at the shit that they just went through with this antitrust lawsuit. Look at what all this...
a lot was exposed.
The controversy of the playoffs. All of this. And now the...
Oh, by the way, we don't have a playoff system labeled yet, right? 2026?
1 month
We're
out.
going to be looking for all kinds of good news to try and cover up for this pile of madness that's been dumped on their front doorstep.
Okay, so is that what NASCAR fans potentially could look forward to, so to speak, this next week? Maybe a couple of more negative bombs, and then all of a sudden all the positive. Here's the new playoff. Here's this. Here's that. Here's sponsor, blah, blah, blah. That could be potential.
Yeah, very possible. I think so.
Get the bad out of the way, and then we'll finalize it with good.
Do we even need to put up the statement, Richie? It's a cut and paste statement that, frankly, you could just slap up on GPT, and I mean, there it is. There is no mention. There's no mention in the NASCAR press release. There's no mention that this is why he's gone.
Right.
He's gone because of the transgressions with texts, posts on apps. This is why he's gone. When Johnny Morris speaks, do I want to say billion, or let's just say millions upon millions upon millions of dollars that Johnny Morris of Bass Pro has spent in NASCAR? When he calls for, where was it, Richie? Do you have
I got
that?
it right here. Yeah, we can pull it up. Here it is. There it is.
Follow me here, Freak Nation. If you're listening to us while you're driving, follow me here. Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops owner. The fact is, Richard Childress has done as much to build and promote NASCAR as anyone in the history of the sport. The commissioner, in all his rant, has only managed to bring discredit to himself and the sport. Many of our teammates have validly expressed concern that the commissioner's recently revealed contempt for Richard Childress makes it abundantly clear that he and his lieutenants are not capable of being fair and objective when it comes to impartially enforcing the rules and regulations that govern the sport, including the objective assessment of fines and penalties. This is a threat to the very integrity of the sport. And
that second part is the key part, because
I like the second part.
We did a lot. We spent about 15 minutes talking about just this letter alone back in December and how key it was to being the kind of linchpin in the, oh crap, from NASCAR's point of view, we got to settle this thing. So yeah, read that second part, Kenny. This is big, because we did not mention this on the last show. We spent talking about him wanting to settle. And from that point of view, we didn't speak a lot about that second line there, which was a direct call for Steve Phelps to resign. So yeah, read that second part again.
We can't help but wonder what would happen if Major League Baseball brought in a new commissioner and he or she trash talked one of the true legends who built the game, like Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, or Babe Ruth. Such blatant disrespect would probably not sit well with the fans. Such a commissioner most likely wouldn't or shouldn't keep his or her job very long.
And fast forward to January 6th, and here we are.
Less than a month later. That's not a coincidence, dude.
No,
That's not.
It's not. And again, it's neither here nor there whether he actually resigned or was forced out. Whatever. He's gone. That's the bottom line, talking about Steve Phelps with NASCAR. And I know, let's see, Scott says, I think we all know why he's gone. I think the reason we're bringing up why NASCAR did not put any details in their press release or any of their statements is because I'm just going to go back to what I was saying. He's still out there to be an executive in other sports. And are other sports going to dig hard enough to find out specifically why he was gone? If it's not listed in this press release, it's not necessarily going public. And I'm going to die on the sword of Steve Phelps is going to be an executive elsewhere
it's out
within
there.
months.
Are you saying, Crasher, you're much smarter than what you're coming off there. It's out there what he has said. You're saying
it is out there.
If they dig even deeper.
I don't.
Because listen,
it's out there, but it's not a part of the lawsuit, and it's not a part of this press release. So, like Vegas or like ESPN right now, like Cole was just talking about, nobody in big sports is talking about Steve Phelps going away from NASCAR today.
It's on the front page of ESPN. It's on the front page of Fox Sports. Okay,
it is now.
Yes, it is. Well, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay. It wasn't as we started this show.
Hey, John Gruden, the things that he put out there on texts that were frankly offensive to people of color, he was booted, and he's been blackballed from the National Football League. I mean, so getting back to what you're saying, Crasher, yes, it's out there. Everybody's going to know what he said and did. Is that going to be enough to keep him out of a front-facing executive job?
It's a question to be asked.
This freaking segment is brought to you by our friends at Lucas Oil. Now, what automobile do you have in the garage? I bet Lucas Oil could keep that thing fat and happy and on the road. From everyday car care, heavy-duty trucking to agriculture, hot rods, classic cars, motorcycles, and marine, Lucas Oil has what you need to keep those engines, interiors, and exteriors looking like and running like they're supposed to be. For more information, go to the website, lucasoil.com, and find the perfect Lucas Oil product. Keep your rides on the road. Some people, they follow the rules. Here at the Freak Nation, we don't. Go to our YouTube channel at Official Speed Freaks and hit the store link, and you'll be able to own a part of the Freak Nation, from adult to kids tees, freaking hoodies, beanies to styling lids, kicks, and coffee mugs. All carrying Speed Freaks attitude that's been rattling cages for 25 years. This ain't fashion. It's a big old fat middle finger to boring. Hello. If you want to blend in, keep walking. Hit up Speed Freaks YouTube page and bang the store link so you too can own a part of the Freak Nation.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
And I'm going to play this sound too. This is really where it started to come to us, Freak Nation. Middle of December when Crash dropped this comment.
They never once in their podcast said the name Steve Phelps, which we all know the defamatory comments that Kenny was just referring to were from Steve Phelps. Was Steve Phelps not in that courtroom today, glad handling everybody? Is there something else going on? Will we see Steve Phelps come February in Daytona, or is he done? I don't know. I'm asking this question. Why did we not hear of him being in court today? Why did we not hear of him being part of the happy, happy, joy, joy bonfire group at the end of this court case? We have not heard Steve Phelps since he was on the witness stand. And now we know.
Fortuitous. It's twice I've used that word today. Fortuitous.
It's a very big word, Ken.
All right.
Is that one of your New Year's resolutions, to use big, big, big words?
Yep.
Okay.
And was it referred to, where was it that I saw Steve Phelps talking about he had a conversation with Richard Childress and the text? Was that in September? Was at Phoenix when he said he talked to him back in September because he knew that these texts were going to come out? Anybody?
I think you're right, but I don't remember the exact details. So
I can't remember if it was in the courthouse or if it was at Phoenix, honestly, but it was one of those two for sure. Yeah.
The texts were not made public before the end of the season. That came out after the Phoenix finale. So, but when did Richard Childress find out about them, and when did Phelps and Childress themselves talk? I don't know. Oh, so is there going to be another lawsuit? Wasn't there a threat of a civil suit or something similar, Childress to Phelps? Is that still going to happen?
Very possible.
You know what? Given where we are now, and tell me if I'm wrong, given where we are now, don't you think that the France family, they're offering a mea culpa and everything that they can to Richard Childress to please, let's keep this out of the headlines. What do you need?
Oh, got
what do you freaking need, my man, to keep this out of the headlines?
I need Kyle Busch to win. I need that number 8 in Victory Lane at Daytona, by the way. Ooh, let's start the conspiracy theories now.
That's a good point, Kenny. I think RC probably has NASCAR and the France family by the gonads at this point because, like you said, they're probably doing all they can to keep another lawsuit out of their laps. So that's a great point you bring up there.
The settlement that didn't settle, but it did settle.
There was a Crasher. Refresh my memory here. There was, I believe it was February of 2023 when Larson came out with Steve Phelps with Phoenix Raceway at the Biltmore when we interviewed Steve Phelps. Do you remember when that was, Richie? Were you there for that, buddy?
I was there. Yeah, I think this was like they were doing a launch event for like one of their charities, I think at the time.
Yes.
I believe that's why we were there. And yeah, this was the first time that Steve Phelps was in the Freak Nation.
Yeah.
Unholy time.
I'm going to play a portion of this. I haven't seen this in a long time, but you'll see why or see where my bromance for Steve Phelps started with this interview. And again, this is, I want to say 2023, February, almost 3 years ago. Steve Phelps with yours truly. We're not going to play this whole damn thing. I don't want to see the whole damn thing, but it's kind of giving you a vibe of why I gravitated towards this guy. I've got a driver's perspective. I've got the fans' perspective. It's great to have your perspective of what happened at Daytona, seeing that car tumble. I imagine you're just cringing as it's happening. Do you take that accident and immediately start addressing how to prevent that from happening again? How does the executive branch handle something like that?
Well, I will say this. I was in race control when it happened. It's terrifying. Ryan Preece is a member of our family, right? He's in, little known fact, but Ryan Preece was the driver coach and gave lessons to my twins when they were karting when they were 8 years old. So little connection there, but it doesn't matter whether it's Ryan Preece or it's Ryan Blaney or whomever, right? Those two hits that they took this past weekend were vicious. The hit that Blaney took that's scary. And if that had happened 20 years ago, would have had a different result. Not speculating on that, but and then Ryan Preece, we made changes to the Ryan Blaney hit to the front clip that seemed to do its job, right? And I'm sure he's sore, and actually I know he's sore because we exchanged texts yesterday. But with respect to the Ryan Preece hit, yeah, we took that car, took it back to R&D, and we need to make sure that we learn from what happened so we can do our level best to make sure that car doesn't get airborne. Bad things happen when race cars get airborne. They may be spectacular to look at, but we've got to keep the safety of the driver at the forefront. And we will continue to try to, use different opportunities and tweaks to that car to make it safer and safer. We will always do that. And you see that whether you're talking about, it's not just the front clip and the rear clip, it's, what's happening with their seats. And we've made significant changes working with the drivers and the team on their seats, or their head surrounds, or their helmets. You have to pull every single lever you can in order to keep those drivers safe, and that's what we're doing. And I'm proud of the work that John Padalecki and our safety team has done back at the R&D Center. We invest significant dollars in order to make sure that our drivers are safe, and we'll continue to do that. Hopefully both drivers will get cleared to run this weekend, because I know that's what they want.
Do you think the veil of secrecy has been lifted somewhat thanks to the access that we have to drivers with social media, to where you feel like you really need to act on something because of it's prevalent, what's going on within our series or the NFL or Major League Baseball?
Sure. Well, for us, we've got something called our Driver Advisory Council, and we meet with drivers on that. We have a all-driver meeting every 4 weeks or so. Last fall, we had one every single week, so we could address the concerns that the drivers had. And so we are fully transparent. I would suggest that the relationship between NASCAR and our drivers has never been better, ever. And early October last year, that wasn't the case, right? And I got called out publicly, I got called out privately, and that I didn't care about the driver safety. I can assure you I care about the driver safety, and so does NASCAR. And we are now in such a better place, and it feels good. So it's not just about safety now. Those meetings are about safety. They're about promoting the sport. They're about the future of the drivers and what their careers look like after it's finished. So all kinds of different things that we're working with our drivers.
There are some nuggets in there that prove potentially, I think it proves, but maybe some people don't, that this position is necessary in NASCAR. He even talked about what drivers will do with their futures after they get out of the cockpit and how he is the conduit to that part of their next life. This is a position that does need to be refilled, I believe. And it needs to be someone, he claims that, okay, this was actually September or August of 2023. It wasn't after the February Daytona. It was after the end of the full-time season Daytona, the Coke 400. This is a position that needs to be able to take heat from drivers, but also he just alluded to them having a great relationship at that time in September of 2023. This needs to be a very solid individual, a person that can take the heat, but also be the one to communicate driver needs to the competition side of the sport. This can't go unfilled for long.
Hey, Cole, you weren't with us when we had that interview with Steve Phelps. What's your initial reaction when you see that?
Honestly, it proves to me what I had always seen in Phelps in the conversations and stories I've done with him, is that he's very transparent, very forward thinking, and just a professional in every sense of the world, every sense of the word for that matter. And also, it also makes me think back to a comment Richie said about Ben Kennedy maybe assuming this position. I feel like someone like Ben Kennedy wouldn't be able to do this, because in the years I've been working around NASCAR and doing interviews with people like Phelps and O'Donnell, I've reached out for comments from Kennedy numerous times. I'm sure you guys have too, and many others in the NASCAR media have as well. And he almost 10 times out of 10 will decline them. So like you guys both said just there, you got to be able to take the heat. You got to be able to be transparent and have direct conversations with these teams and these drivers, because their safety and their livelihoods essentially in your hands. And I don't think that Ben Kennedy is somebody that's like a Phelps that has that experience or really leadership at this point in his life to where he can assume that position of commissioner from Steve Phelps. But overall, my takeaway from that is that Phelps, when in front of the camera and behind the mic and just leading the sport in general, was a true professional. And it's going to be a major loss for the sport. But as you said numerous times throughout the show, it was evident and probably necessary that he stepped down with the comments that he made about Richard Childress.
Yeah, there's no doubt he had to leave based on the texts that were made public. But the question is, who's and wondering what was his title for?
Oh, breaking up there. Before he was commissioner?
No, what was his title?
Executive Vice President of NASCAR, Chief Venue and Racing Innovations Officer, according to Wikipedia.
Was that a position, that basic position that should not have been making sense? I mean, we think that the executive will be able to make comments. If Kennedy moved this role of commissioner, It is really, we then need to say all comments. He needs to answer everything. He needs to move into that position of transparency.
Cole, Richie?
I could not hear much. It kept cutting out. Did you get any of that, Richie?
You were asking about Ben Kennedy crash.
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, it's like I said, it's pretty clear that he is like the next in line. As like, I don't know about anybody else, but that's how I always thought about it. Was like those were your kind of three. You have the big top, and if it's a pyramid, you got the Francis at the top of your pyramid, and then down below them you got your Phelps and O'Donnell, so they were next, and then Ben Kennedy was next on that pyramid. And so now that it's like a Jenga. We're playing Jenga, Freak Nation. That's what we're doing. And so now
NASCAR Jenga.
Now that Steve Phelps has been removed, you're either going to tumble, or you need to move a piece up into to fill that hole, or you make O'Donnell the bigger piece, and then Kennedy is still underneath. That did not answer your question. Paint the picture.
Well, basically, with Ben Kennedy not being transparent in the past, and his past
Crasher still
role,
breaking up for you guys? Is it okay?
No, we're back. We're back now. We're back.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So with Ben Kennedy not being transparent in the past, in his past role, okay, that's fine. But if he does move up, we can't have these no comments from him moving forward. If he moves up into this commissioner role, he has to answer to all media moving forward.
Correct.
Some people, they follow the rules. Here at the Freak Nation, we don't. Go to our YouTube channel at Official Speed Freaks and hit the store link, and you'll be able to own a part of the Freak Nation, from adult to kids tees, freaking hoodies, beanies to styling lids, kicks, and coffee mugs. All carrying Speed Freaks attitude that's been rattling cages for 25 years. This ain't fashion. It's a big old fat middle finger to boring. Hello. If you want to blend in, keep walking. Hit up Speed Freaks YouTube page and bang the store link so you too can own a part of the Freak Nation.
Tickets for the 2026 season of Speed at Worldwide Technology Raceway are on sale now. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 and Celebration of 66 Festival, June 6th and 7th. The NASCAR Cup Series Enjoy Illinois 300, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and Confluence Music Festival, September 11th through 13th. And the NHRA Napa Auto Parts Midwest Nationals, October 2nd through 4th. Save big by going to WWTRaceway.com.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
And just to go back to what Richie was saying, that's how I saw it too. It just makes the most sense for him to step into that role, Ben Kennedy, that is. And how I always saw the Steve dynamic was that Phelps was the good cop, O'Donnell was bad cop. You have Phelps, who was very transparent, very well spoken. And then you had O'Donnell, who was more brass, and he'd just be more like a no BS kind of guy. And I think that's essential to have that kind of dynamic where you have a good cop and a bad cop. And I think in NASCAR's way of thinking, their approach for this year, and going back to their roots and being more old school, but also trying to be innovative, you're getting that with Ben Kennedy because he's obviously part of the France Kennedy family, and he's also younger in that regard. But I think you also have to take into account that when you had somebody like Phelps who wasn't attached to the Kennedy France family, you had somebody that had a different thought process, somebody who wasn't as much of a puppet as Ben Kennedy may be, should he assume this role. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes for 2026 and beyond.
Yes,
Crasher?
You have to have him with reins released. Lisa, Jim, if you're going to move Ben into this position of commissioner, you got to take the reins off. Let him do what he does best and allow him to talk and address every issue when it comes about.
Crasher, here's a familiar name. Look on your screen.
Hire Randy Bernard. I think Randy Bernard is done with motorsports. I don't think he wants to come back. The IndyCar group didn't handle his departure very nicely.
Freak Nation, a little bit more with Steve Phelps.
Difference between you guys and the future is like, okay, we're human, and you guys are able to say, all right, maybe I made a mistake and didn't communicate as well with you guys as I should have, but things were busy. But hey, how do we fix this? How do we fail forward and move forward together? So again, I mean, that's just a difference, and that's you guys. Credit to you guys for evolving humanly and evolution-wise with the sport.
Right. Well, I think there was probably was a time in the sport where it was like, hey, just put your helmet on and drive. We can't do that, right? That's not beneficial. They're the show, right? And we want to make sure that the guys that are the show and the gals that are the show, they're in their race cars, but they can also help us promote the sport, right? And because no one honestly wants to hear from me, they want to hear from the drivers. They want to hear from the crew chiefs, right? We are, we're we're kind of like the government. It doesn't mean we're not important. We have our job to do, but they're the sport, right? They're the heroes. They're the gladiators, and you got two gladiators that are hopefully going to climb back in their car this weekend. I mean, gladiators. I mean, that's scary. Like, hold your breath. Oh my God, scary. But we do have to be transparent. We have to keep working with our drivers to be better. So we're excited about the future looks like with our drivers.
Well, now the future is going to look like something with your drivers, but without you, Steve Phelps.
That was Steve Phelps a couple of years ago after the Ryan Blaney, Ryan Preece accidents. And we caught up with him here in Phoenix. Man.
Fall of 2023.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, freaks, this gave us a good reason to kind of get the dust off, put a little Lucasol on our rust, loosen things up a little bit, get the squeaks out. And I can't say we're going to do it again this Sunday. Unless things... The plan is this, Freak Nation, and go to a four-shot, Richie. The plan is this: the plan is for us to resume Sunday Chili Bowl post Sunday after Chili Bowl, which would be a week from this Sunday, right?
18th?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the more than likely restart date of SpeedFreaks.
That's the plan, man.
That is the plan. Might even get in a little bit of horsepower Humpday next Wednesday with some reports from Tulsa and the Chili Bowl.
And Supercross is kicking off this coming weekend in Anaheim. Anaheim 1, always a huge event for motorheads to watch. And then, of course, I'm going to be pretty occupied. Look at my hat. Go Hoosiers. Yes.
What are the Hoosiers trying to get into the top 50 in basketball?
Stop it. We're not talking basketball right now. We're not. If we win the Peach Bowl, and then if we go on to Miami, again, I'm saying a bunch of ifs, we will be... Oh, my God.
All right, so...
Let me just say this. We will be the most recent school, and you got to think about this for a bit, to be undefeated in both football and basketball. Hi, when were we undefeated in basketball? That was 1976. So we will be the most recent school to be undefeated in both football and basketball. If we go on all the way to Miami and win.
Hey, you know who needs a commissioner?
Hoosiers.
NCAA.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, no. Will Steve Phelps go to the NCAA? Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So, Freak Nation, again, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a great show. You guys came. You guys came hard and had some great comments on our chat. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can go to our YouTube page and check out our new line of freakware for 2026. Get yourself some freakware. Look spiffy rolling through the pits for 2026.
Yes, there are shoes. I still have to order the shoes.
None of us have ordered shoes, have we?
I'm getting those. I will get them for Daytona, for sure.
And also some other cool changes coming. Up until the end of 2025, you caught us every Monday on our friends at Racer Network. We're no longer there. We'll be sharing where we're going to land.
We can't share yet?
Nope. Pretty soon, Freak Nation. So be sure you're part of our social media extravaganza. It's going to be pretty big. Pretty excited about this. So again, guys, thank you guys for being a part of this. I'm going to go back to my hibernation. The set's going to look a little different when we join you guys next. And
maybe. We thought it would look different today.
The evolution of the set may take about 2 or 3 months, but damn it. We'll get there. All right. So
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yep.
That's right.
Happy New Year.
I'll give you your due, Scott, right there. Montana State Bobcats. All right. You got it.
Boy.
Yeah.
Montana, what a gorgeous freaking state.
Yeah.
Went up there to see my Sam Houston State Bearcats take on. I think it was Montana State.
That's who just won the FBS.
Thanks, guys.
FCS, whatever. Yeah, you're welcome.
22 years ago. Oh, my God. What's that, Joey?
Who's laughing now?
Try again.
Live on the Freak Radio Network, broadcasting from the Lucas Oil Studios, driven by General Tire.
Rock on, baby!
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
Second hour of the Freaks, Freak Nation. Thank you guys for hanging out. Coming up this hour, Will Power will be in here. Glen, Cromwell, NHRA president, will be in here. Our Freaky Awards continue with Freak of the Year and Driver Rider of the Year, Freak Nation. And I'm going to say this about that intro to the show. We've been doing this for 25 years, and the majority of those 25 years, that has been the intro. That music that you see in some of that video has been the intro for our show here with Speed Freaks. And Crasher, the name of the band?
Betty Blowtorch.
Yep. And every now and then we get popped on YouTube for this when we've actually got signed license agreement with the band and the label to run that thing on our show. So don't pop us for that, YouTube, all right? Don't pop us, man.
You know you're talking to AI. They're not.
Okay, well, AI, YouTube, do not pop us for that. Maybe they'll... Anyway. So, hey, thank you to that band for allowing us to use their music for the show intro. Not quite sure what we're going to be doing with our show intro for 2026. I do know what's going to be happening in 2026, where we're going to be, and we'll share a little bit of that with you coming up at the...
On the beach, baby. Come on.
Yep. A little bit of that with you coming up in the last segment
beach.
Of the show. A pretty big announcement here for the Freak Nation. All right, man, let's continue on with our Freakies. And again, since we spent so much coin on production, we got to roll it. There we go. So to backtrack just a little bit, we had Cole Cusimano and who chime in for the first one?
I picked Brittany Force.
Brittany Force, Driver of the Year, and you picked
Alex Palou.
Alex Palou for Driver of the Year. All right, speaking of, Crash Gladys, how about your Driver Rider of the Year, my friend?
I'm just going to say I think that Cole Cusimano's pick was spectacular, but one of the reasons that I chose this particular driver was because just this weekend, he was also Hoosier proud. Yes, go. Love the driver that broke so many records this year in the IndyCar series and is an Indiana Hoosier fan and an Indiana Pacers fan to boot. So yeah, there's nothing else needs to be said about one of the nicest guys to ever hit the motorsports scene in the entire world. Cole went through all of his stats. The first Spaniard to ever win the Indy 500 and the first Spaniard to ever win the championship in the 500 in the same year. Just OMG. His name is now in the same paragraph as AJ Foyt, Bobby Unser, Al Unser, Mario Andretti, Alex Palou. Yes, the man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious about this, and I'm not making a joke of it. Did any of you guys think about, was it Robert Schwartzman?
Oh, for actually getting for the pole?
For the pole.
And nobody thought that Team Prema was going to be on the pole their rookie year of the Indy 500. That's a very good choice.
A Jewish-born driver on the pole for the Indy 500. It's a pretty damn big story of the year.
Yep, from Russia. And yeah, you bet. I mean, he was asked about so many of the political statements going on at that time as well, and he handled it all like a champ.
Completely forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm not going to lie.
I know.
Because he had a bad race. And
Yeah, he did.
didn't do anything the rest of the year, really, in the IndyCar series.
And the team is struggling. Let's just be perfectly honest. Let's hope Team Prema is back in good form for 2026.
All righty. Codey Big Ass Johnson, my friend. As we pass the mic over to him, man, his production value is fantastic. All right, Codey,
All right.
Your driver rider of the year is?
My driver, I had to get a different kind of racing surface
Yep.
involved here.
Oh, yes.
This is this driver's last year in a Lucas-sponsored ride.
Mm-hmm.
He had 21 race wins and 39 top fives, brought in $650,000 or a little over so. Go ahead.
Very well done,
Yeah.
Rico Abreu.
Yeah.
Brew.
Nice.
Talk about a dude that had a second half of the season. That was freaking Rico Abreu, bro.
There was some injuries that helped him out,
Mhm.
but he had definitely had a good year.
And I wouldn't say Kenny's second half of the season, because we talked to him, speaking of the Indy 500, we talked to him when Richie and I were at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in May, and he was going through a 3 or 4 race in a row winning streak at that time. So he just had a very good, consistent year, and that's by far the best Rico's ever had.
It was phenomenal this year.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, you got to learn to talk into the mic and speak a little bit louder because the people can't hear you. So you said Rico Abreu.
Rico
Yeah.
Abreu.
Yeah. Do I have to teach you how to hold a mic?
Richie, he's got his
You gotta eat
hands
it.
on. He's our TD. He's our freaking techno director.
Learn how to talk louder. Just like I did. Somebody's going to yell. Cody, you got to. If Kenny's about to pick the winner of amongst our choices, and so you have to say it with passion. As long as you say it with passion, that's half the battle.
I have every right mind to pick a rider of the year.
I was just going to say, we have some in the chat too. People saying Mark Marquez. We've got Jet Lawrence. Yeah, there's Toprak Rose Gatliaku. There's a lot of
A former winner of
driver rider of the year. Toprak Rose Gatliaku. And I don't know. Go for it, Kenny. Do you have a 2-wheeler?
Jet Lawrence, who crapped the bed after I think it was his 3rd race of the Supercross season, tore an ACL. And if you're familiar with Supercross, motocross at all, an ACL is one of the most important tendons in your body when it comes to cranking and shifting that freaking bike all over the place when it comes specifically for Supercross. So he was out for the majority of the year. Still finished 18th in points, where he missed, I think, 13 races, 15, something like that. Still finished 13th in Supercross points, but he came back with a repaired ACL and wrapped up the 450 Motocross Championship with a round to spare.
Damn. Oh my God.
Wrapped up the freaking Motocross champ. He one-pointed the 22 of the 24 motos, dropping only 2 all season.
Whoa.
3-peat champion, captured his 3rd straight Super Motocross World Championship. How many times have we crowned a Super Motocross champion?
0, because they're only 3 years into a Super Motocross
That's what
playoff
I'm saying.
championship.
He's been crowned every one of them.
Yeah.
Again, tore his ACL. More 1-1 sweeps. If you're familiar with Super Motocross, they have the first moto and the second moto. And when I say 1-1, he finished more first than anyone in 2025. At just 22, this guy is on the mark of a McGrath or a Carmichael or beyond, frankly. And you could argue the whole Marquez story, and I get it. I'm not going to take away from somebody that might pick Marquez here for something else, but it's tough for me to vote against Alex Palou. So you two are going to share the award for Alex Palou for Driver of the Year with an acknowledgement of Jet Lawrence.
No, you got to give yourself the pat on the back.
Yes.
Kenny. Got it.
I respect it.
Yeah. All right. How much time we got? Oh, damn. We got a little bit of time to pontificate. Crasher, you brought up the Portland GP as your race of the year, and explain to the Freak Nation why we're going to show a portion of this Will Power interview coming up next. We had him shortly thereafter that race win. What all was going on with Will Power at the time?
Will Power is the number 1. He is in the record books right now, and he still has years left on his resume as the number 1 pole sitter in the history of the IndyCar series. And he's up there in wins. He has an Indy 500 to his credit. He's got a couple championships to his credit. This guy is not slowing down. And the fact that it came up this summer that Will Power, with all these records in the IndyCar series, might be losing his ride with Roger Penske, the captain. And then it actually came down that that's what happened. Will Power will be driving for the Andretti team coming up in 2026. Cannot freaking wait to see what he does with those cars. But yeah, so he comes into the Portland Grand Prix weekend. Is he going to drive for the captain? Is he not? He probably knew that this was his swan song, goes out and takes the freaking win, just annihilates people. And his wife has had health issues in the past, and to have her so happy in victory lane, that's always a great sight to see. Elizabeth Power always just with the water bottle twist as Will Power's coming to victory lane. Overall, it was a lot of drama on the weekend. He was asked questions about his future from the minute he set foot on that track all the way through his victory podium, which we have some clips as well. How can you not love the guy? How can you not love the guy and the drama that he went through and still took a win?
The mental toughness to drive a race car, let's just start there. And then you have all the ancillary items going on outside the race car, and you continue to run at an elite level. But your team owner can't commit to you running in his freaking race car. Man, listen, the guy that's taking his spot, love his personality, but the pressure on this guy in his first year, what's his
David Malukas.
David Malukas, his first year in a Penske hot rod to win. I'm not saying just to have a great year, but to freaking win. They're going to be comparing his rookie season with Roger Penske versus Will Power's last season of Roger Penske. The pressure that's going to be on him is going to be bananas, Freak Nation. All right, we're going to hear from Will Power coming up next. Also, we're going to hear from Glen Cromwell the night that he and the drivers and the board canceled the NHRA finals at Pomona. We'll hear from Glen Cromwell. And then, of course, we'll roll the last of the Freaky Awards, the Freak of the Year, on the last segment here in the Freak Nation. All right, man. More freaks coming up. SpeedFreaks Pits and the Lucas Oil Studios.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinion, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
Freak Nation, get this. General Tire has launched a comprehensive Shield Plus Advantage plan for passenger and light truck tires. What that means for you is when you purchase General Tires, the Shield Plus Advantage plan lets you enjoy a complete package of multiple warranties and coverage to get the most from your tires. The plan applies to all General Tire passenger and light truck tires purchased as replacements in the U.S. and Canada with DOT serial numbers. For more information, hit them up on GeneralTire.com. General Tire, the official tire of Speed Freaks for 2 decades.
Some people, they follow the rules. Here at the Freak Nation, we don't. Go to our YouTube channel at Official Speed Freaks and hit the store link, and you'll be able to own a part of the Freak Nation, from adult to kids tees, freaking hoodies, beanies to styling lids, kicks, and coffee mugs. All carrying Speed Freaks attitude that's been rattling cages for 25 years. This ain't fashion. It's a big old fat middle finger to boring. Hello. You want to blend in? Keep walking. Hit up Speed Freaks YouTube page and bang the store link so you too can own a part of the Freak Nation. Freak Nation, our friends at General Tire want to remind you, winter's here, man. Get yourself rolling on a new set of General Tires. Go to GeneralTire.com. It's GeneralTire.com to find the tires for your ride. Frankly, my story of the year would have been NHRA not having a championship finals at Pomona. Weather caused a major issue, so much so they canceled. They couldn't move it to another racetrack, couldn't move it to another weekend. They just said, done. They checked with the drivers. They checked with team owners, the board, everybody that they felt needed to know. And they said, boom, we're done. Glen Cromwell, the president of NHRA, joined us that night. Here's a highlight of that interview here during our Freaky Awards. Freak Nation, as I promised, we're going to go straight to the source to figure out what happened with the NHRA over the weekend. Of course, you know, there was lots of weather. This whole freaking river extravaganza, stream, flow, whatever the hell they're calling it.
Atmospheric river
that stopped on top of freaking Pomona, it looks like, and dumped record numbers of rain over the track. President NHRA good friend of the Freak Nation, Glen Cromwell, joins us here in the Freak Nation. And we thought we'd go, as I said, straight to the source and figure out what the hell happened here. As a person that wasn't at this event, Glen Cromwell, I'm with the thousands of others on social media and going, what the hell? What were there any contingencies? What were the options? Did you exhaust all your options? Help me out here as a drag racing fan of why you canceled the finals.
Yeah, Kenny, it's a tough decision, as you can imagine. One that we really wanted to see the event, as everybody did, run on the racetrack, and nobody wins. Our fans were great; they stuck it out as long as they could. But I've been with the NHRA for 28 years. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, we had rain come in Friday, and it never lit up, and it continued to go all the way through today. Forecast for tomorrow does not look good. Tuesday, not much better. Wednesday was probably the closest thing that we had, and there's no guarantees. We're looking at the weather long term. There's a front coming in Thursday, Friday, and we exhausted everything we could do today. We thought we were going to have a window to race, and it started to dry up for about 2 hours. Our safety safari did a great job, got on the track, and started to dry it. We realized that over the last 2 days, so much water got underneath the rubber there on the concrete. We had to scrape that, and we started to do it. And the other thing that a lot of people don't quite understand is the cool temperatures. Not only was it rain and it's wet, but it's cool. And when you have, 11,000, 12,000 horsepower cars, it's not like we have rain tires. You have to make sure that you put them down the racetrack and they're safe. And that's our job. NHRA is to make sure that we take care of our drivers and make sure that we give them a racetrack that's going to be safe. And we felt that we could not do that with the elements that were around us and the elements that were coming. And we threw everything, we had contingency programs. I mean, we were here Friday, we were here Saturday, we were Sunday. There is a point that, the teams are here. How long can you get the teams to stay? And we sat down with PRO this morning, NHRA and PRO, which is the Professional Racer Organization, along with our pro stock leaders, Elite and KB, Greg Anderson and Richard Freeman, along with our professional motorcycle team leaders there. And we walked it through, and we came to a joint decision that that track was not going to be safe. And we did not think it would be safe tomorrow or Tuesday and beyond. And we surely did not think we were going to get a track today. I think what a lot of people don't quite understand is that, though it's maybe dry for 2 hours, you have to dry it. You got to peel that rubber up. You got to put it back down. And then you hope that the weather is warm enough that you can put these cars down that racetrack. And our experts, Josh Peterson, Jeff Conley, just did not feel comfortable with it. So we made a decision. I made a decision that is in the best interest where we are today. And we decided to call it. And I believe it was the right decision, as it is still raining out here in Pomona. So
NHRA President Glen Cromwell joining SpeedFreaks Radio on a Sunday night and SpeedFreaks TV on the Racer Network on Monday. Glen, when were these discussions with your driver groups, potentially with Fox, or just internally with the NHRA? When did they begin? As this was forecast from, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday in the week, when did you start to say, hey, we need to start looking at backup plans with your group and potentially moving to a different track? Was that even feasible?
We talked about that. I mean, here's the tough thing. We started talking about it on Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. Obviously we made a decision to run our Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series categories on Thursday, and that was a great decision. We were able to finish all those categories except for alcohol dragster and alcohol funny car. We were able to crown the champions on Thursday. And, we looked at the following weekend. We looked at other tracks. Here's the thing you don't know. You don't know what the weather forecast is going to be 7, 10, 12 days out. And you can double down. We talked about going next weekend. One of the challenges that we had with Fox in our mobile unit was not available. It was not available after Wednesday of this week. In fact, that mobile unit is on its way to Copper Mountain for a committed ski event, and we could not find another mobile unit available to us for next weekend. And plus, you don't know what next weekend's going to be. To have the teams go back home, come back out with the uncertainty of what next weekend's going to be in Southern California, Phoenix, Las Vegas. We talked about all of them. And that's the challenge when you have a outdoor event, is the uncertainty of what the forecast is going to be.
Glen Cromwell, president, NHRA, joining the Freaks. And Glen, again, outside looking in, do you think transparency would have helped? As you're having these discussions on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like this could happen, or is that counterproductive to the fan base?
Well, I think, the thing is, could have we communicated better? Maybe. I think what we don't know is we were hoping for windows to open up. I mean, I've seen it. I live here. I've seen a forecast of rain, and it goes around Pomona. And you find a window of 10, 12, 24 hours. And we had to make sure that we gave ourselves an opportunity to fit that into the window. Unfortunately, this one did not. It didn't give us that opportunity. It just continued to rain 24/7. And then the temperatures started to drop.
Well, I think we agree on one thing. Better transparency. I think we learned from that there, Glen Cromwell. I'm not putting words in the mouth. You actually said that at Freak Nation. I'm not putting words in his mouth. But as you see over my shoulder, my right shoulder, there's a 50th anniversary NHRA flag over my shoulder. And I don't know if you've come across a group of folks in the media that have, pushed the NHRA harder than us and that have actually tried to really just blow up the personalities and have some fun with your series. And now we're coming up on 75 years. And we're not going to have a force, at least for now, going into 2026, driving a professional race car. You ready for that?
We are, I think we have a lot of athletes and drivers and superstars that are going to step up. But, John Force, amazing. Definitely the GOAT. I mean, the guy, 16-time champion. He needs, I'm glad he made the decision, and it's the right decision for him and his family and his wife. And, but listen, people, he may not be racing down the track, but he's going to be at our events. He's going to have race teams. He's going to be a team owner. And I will tell you, and we have been working on it prior to his announcement this past weekend. We are, and I'm giving you a little sneak preview, and I can't give you all the details.
That's why you should go to our website, our YouTube page, and listen to that entire interview with Glen Cromwell. He shares with you something that is in the works for John Force coming up, the future for the NHRA. All right, man. We're going to wrap up the 25th annual Freaky Awards with Freak of the Year, and a pretty good network announcement for the Freaks coming up. SpeedFreaks Pits and the Lucas Oil Studios.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Some people, they follow the rules. Here at the Freak Nation, we don't. Go to our YouTube channel at Official Speed Freaks and hit the store link, and you'll be able to own a part of the Freak Nation, from adult to kids tees, freaking hoodies, beanies to styling lids, kicks, and coffee mugs. All carrying Speed Freaks attitude that's been rattling cages for 25 years. This ain't fashion. It's a big old fat middle finger to boring.
Hello.
You want to blend in? Keep walking. hit up SpeedFreaks YouTube page and bang the store link so you too can own a part of the Freak Nation.
From the labs at Lucas Oil Products, Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment is a multifunctional cleaner plus lubricant. For every fill-up of gas or diesel, add one 16-ounce can of Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment. One bottle can treat a tank of up to 21 gallons. Its special additives allows a better fuel burn to help increase your miles per gallon. Expect longer engine life, longer oil life, cleaner exhaust, and less fuel consumption. Lucas Oil, it works.
Freak Nation, head to your local General Tire dealership now to check out the latest additions to their product lineup. The Grabber family of tires are engineered for durability and feature innovative performance features that offer all-terrain capability, blending exceptional off-road durability and impressive on-road performance, all while sporting aggressive style. For outstanding off-road performance coupled with strong street manners, look no further than General Tire. General Tire delivers for whatever you do, and the official tire of SpeedFreaks since 2001.
For the 2026 season of Speed at Worldwide Technology Raceway are on sale now. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 and Celebration of 66 Festival, June 6th and 7th. The NASCAR Cup Series Enjoy Illinois 300, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and Confluence Music Festival, September 11th through 13th. And the NHRA Napa Auto Parts Midwest Nationals, October 2nd through 4th. Save big by going to WWTRaceway.com.
All right, Freak Nation, coming up, we have our last of our Freaky Awards. And again, if you've missed that stellar production, we've had Race of the Year, Driver, Rider of the Year, Story of the Year. Now it's time for Freak of the Year. I know Cole Cusimano is excited about that. This is his first time to chime in with his Freak of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
How's the year been for you, Cole Cusimano?
It's been honestly incredible. I'm so thankful that you guys brought me in here. It's been an awesome experience getting some behind the camera, behind the mic work. It's been an adjustment, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and it's been a awesome year one, ready for year two.
Well, congratulations. You're fired. You're not going to be around.
Damn. Oh, shoot.
Jolly Wickers.
Right before the Freak of the Year? Come on.
And it's been a hell of a year on Racer Network. We were, again, MAV TV was bought out by Racer, and it became Racer Network. We had a hell of a time on there this year, Freak Nation, with our friends at Racer Network. We know a lot of folks over there. A lot of people mean a lot of good things to us, Freak Nation. And we'll be making an announcement pretty soon for 2026 that will be very advantageous for you guys out there in the Freak Nation. Just going to leave it at that. Been a great time on Racer, and got some things happening here in the Freak Nation. All right, it's time for Freak of the Year, and I'm going to start off with Crash Gladys for Freak of the Year, as we've not started off with Crasher for Freak of the Year. This is the most coveted award for individuals that have actually participated in sports.
Yep, this guy. Okay, so there it goes. I'm going with a guy, not a female driver or rider, but this guy went through everything, it seems, this year. Unfortunately, it didn't end up the way that he wanted. Let's just go with it so I can punt him.
Is that you? Sorry, Crash.
Not the Freak of the Year.
I'm sorry about that. That's what I'm saying. That just didn't look right, did it? All right, here we go, Crash. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Denny Hamlin, because hello, this guy, you could argue he should have been the Cup champion. He won the most races of the year in NASCAR, in the Cup Series. He's a brand new daddy for the third time. New baby. Unfortunately, his father's health is failing, and he's suing. He is one of the plaintiffs suing the NASCAR Series, the France family. All of this, and he compartmentalizes each individual aspect of his life en route to the championship that unfortunately went south with 2 laps to go in the season. Denny Hamlin was a freak of nature in 2025. He started off the year saying things like, I beat your favorite driver. And then at the end of the year, you guys, everybody was cheering him on. He's a freak.
Crash Gladys, Denny Hamlin, not a bad choice for Freak of the Year. A lot of fantastic explanation there, and the veins coming out of her neck could be seen this side of the Mississippi.
I do. When I get passionate, it's not just my veins, it's my bones.
Yeah. All right, Cody, your Freak of, or let's go, Richie, since you're already on camera.
Oh, okay.
All right,
cool.
Let's go, Richard C. Suave, with your Freak of the Year, my friend.
All right, we've done a lot of four-wheel conversation, not too much two-wheel conversation, but I'm going to wrap it up with two wheels. The chat has been mentioning Marc Marquez, and this guy, his story, if you guys don't know it, I'd read up on it quite a bit here, and I'm going to try and, put it down into little nuggets so you can get it here on the Freak Nation. But this guy, according to MotoGP, he's crashed 108 times since he was last MotoGP World Champion in 2019. He's undergone 5 surgeries on his right arm and shoulder since he was last champion in 2019. He missed 30 races. He is now the second winningest MotoGP rider of all time, behind, of course,
Valentino.
The legendary Valentino Rossi. I'm going to read this quote from his brother here, who said, he thought his older sibling would retire during the 2-year period he spent searching for a cure for his fractured, infected, and malrotated humerus. He had one of the greatest seasons in MotoGP history this year. He won 11 races. He set the record for most points in this particular sprint format in MotoGP this year. Incredible comeback, incredible season. Congratulations to Marc Marquez.
Yep.
In my 2025 Freak of the Year.
Extremely valid. Well
and
done.
then here are some other things, because I was teetering between Marquez and Jet for my rider of the year. There was one, where was it? He clinched the title even after the late season injury. Did you say that?
He did.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Right. What was the other? Regardless, just read his story. He doesn't need even win if he wins a race, he could be Freak of the Year.
Yeah.
But if you get a chance, read the story on Marquez. Nice choice there, Richie. Appreciate that. All right, Cole Cusimano, your Freak of the Year.
I believe there is only one driver deserving of being Freak of the Year, because in Speed Freaks' 25th season, he was arguably the biggest fixture on our show. Who is it? Shoulder and his hand now.
Get him!
There's only one driver in the studio that we have a stuffed animal of. It's William Big Balls Byron. This guy went from boring to big balls. February, winning the Daytona 500 back-to-back fashion, I might add, to now being Big Balls Byron. Why is that? He only matched his 3-win total from last year, but this is by far his most dominant season. Career high and series best laps led with 1,330, and he won his first regular season title. But it was not until William Byron came into the Freak Nation in September that we saw him come into his own. He came into the show with a full beard, and he dropped an S-bomb that vaulted him into manhood and a deep playoff run. He made the championship 4 with a walk-off win at Martinsville, beating his teammate Chase Elliott in the Penske Fords of Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney. And on top of that, he shot a shot with Sabrina Carpenter. He met Sydney Sweeney. And for that, William Byron is the Freak of the Year.
Well
Big balls.
Big balls.
He should have won 6-7 races this year.
He should have. Yeah, exactly. There were 3 races where he led the most laps and dominated and got screwed out of it. Yeah.
Job. William Big Balls Byron.
I mean, think about it. In February, he was William Boring Byron, William Boring. And by September, like Cole said, he became Big Balls Byron. The man matured in 2025. This is good. It's good for the sport, too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Cody, let's end it with you, my friend. Freak of the Year, young man.
All right, so I chose somebody that, well, let's start off. It's another GOAT. Let's start there. And I chose him to be my Freak of the Year because he made me laugh the absolute most all season long, every time we had something on. And go ahead. I don't know of another driver with bigger balls than Byron other than this man who retired without even telling his PR team. So he just said, I'm done, and let everybody else figure it out.
John,
I love it.
So I feel like that earns freak of the year.
Absolutely.
Man, those are some solid freaking picks. Man, where do I go? Oh, I'm sorry. I know where I go. I've actually, you guys, you know what? Marquez, Fantastic Force, yes. Who'd you pick? Denny Hamlin. And you picked William Big Balls Byron. I don't know. My big balls were earned this weekend with an 11-year-old girl in goalie. And when you're the father of an 11-year-old girl in goal and she takes on penalty kicks, you just don't know the stress that goes on in my head and a lot of people's heads in general. But watching what this girl has done over the last 2 or 3 years, taking the goalie by the horns and kicking some ass. Yep. Here she is in one of her many stops.
You have it?
A penalty kick from yesterday's game to preserve the victory to move on to the semifinals, Freak Nation. I want you to watch Henley. She's the one in the green, of course, in the goal.
The big cucumber.
The coach calls her the big cucumber. Her team is in the white. And if you're familiar with penalty kicks, this ball isn't that far from the goal, Freak Nation. Now, she's doing everything her dad and her goalie instructors had asked her to do. She's sitting in goal. She's trying to make herself look big. Watch her hands. Look at that. They're going up and down, up and down, up and down, trying to distract the individual who's about to kick that ball about 40 miles an hour at her face. What does she do? Well, this is what freaks of the year.
Oh, by the way, no. Let's not forget. She's looking into the sun, and it is sunset time.
Exactly. Good point. It's right in her face.
Right in her face.
Here she goes.
Oh,
yeah. There it is. There you go.
Freak of the weekend.
Yeah, there it is.
Henley
Sargent. Tracking down the rebound there as well, making sure no follow-ups.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that badass?
She good.
Oh, yeah.
Like a cat.
There you go, Freak Nation. There is my freak of the year, an 11-year-old goalkeeper that, frankly, has taken this team on her back and helped propel them into victory lane, or victory circle, victory what? All right, they got themselves. Come on over here. Come on over here, will you?
Oh, yeah.
Are we supposed to be off the air already?
Champ.
We are. All right.
Champ.
All right. I want you to say Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to everybody, Happy Holidays. Say it real quick.
Hi, I'm a champion.
Happy holidays and Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Thank you guys for being a part of this. Happy New Year. Happy holidays to all of you. Be sure you check with us on our social media to find out our next move and where we're going to be having a good old time in 2026. Later. Crash.
SpeedFreaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Freak Nation, head to your local General Tire dealership now to check out the latest additions to their product lineup. The Grabber family of tires are engineered for durability and feature innovative performance features that offer all-terrain capability, blending exceptional off-road durability and impressive on-road performance, all while sporting aggressive styling. For outstanding off-road performance coupled with strong street manners, look no further than General Tire. General Tire delivers for whatever you do, and the official tire of Speed Freaks since 2001.
Here's to the Dream Chasers, the Glass Ceiling Breakers, the Minivan Mothers, the Scheduled Jugglers, and everyday All-Stars at the top of their game. We see you making moves, taking names, and rewriting the rules to find your own way. To all the women who keep our world running smooth, we keep you on the move.
SpeedFreaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.